Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Tim from the Camp Compound and let's get right to it. This week was insane. So first we have the first actual proper good sentiment in 6 months on Monday. Then FTX falls on Tuesday, which is a very quick change in sentiment. Then today we have a good and useful CPI or inflation print which switches us back. We all have whiplash from how quickly everything changed in the market. My neck even hurts from it. So, let's have a quick rundown of what actually happened, right? Last Friday, I believe, or the 2nd of November, I'm not entirely certain when that was, a statement or financial statement from FTX leaked. In this, we could see that there were some unsavory practices going on, to say the very least. What happened is that Sam Bankman Fried and FTX used their FTT coin, put it in their hedge fund Alameda Research. Alameda Research then used this as collateral to get more loans, which is basically a way for them to print free money because they have their collateral, they borrowed against it, and they use that to make like the small increment payments back. Then the growth of the hedge fund made sure that they could put in more FTT without, raising too much suspicion, which led to more loans, etc. And that way the flywheel kept going, kept getting bigger, and they kept getting more money. It's basically a very, well, let's say, creative way of committing fraud. Also, because the actual trader customer funds of FTX were put in that fund, which is, not great, to say the very least. I'm fairly certain that some SEC and IFRS officials have something to say about that. So that is, in a nutshell, what happened. Then CZ, the big boss of Binance, thought that was no bueno and decided to sell all of his FTT, which crashed the price, which brought more attention to what was actually going on. And if anything is constant in the crypto market, it's that if we all discover a bad actor like Do Kwon or Sam Bankman-Fried, everybody pitches in to help and shorts the ever-loving life out of it. And that is how the collateral of Alameda Research went down, because the price of FTT dropped like a brick. If the collateral goes down, but you still have really, really high debt, you get a margin call and you get liquidated. End of story. That is approximately what happened in about 2 minutes. Then, today we had a CPI inflation print, which is also very important. The consensus was about 8%, is what was to be expected of today. However, this was 7.7%, which is really, really good, because that is actually quite a difference from the 8%. It doesn't sound like too much, but in economics, that is actually quite a lot. Because of this, the markets suddenly got more excited and more positive, despite everything going on in FTX. So, on that, and because we just hit quiet the support, which we will talk about in a minute, we bumped back up towards where we are now, around the 17,600, where we, well, are kind of struggling for the moment, but we'll see, we'll get to that in a moment. That is kind of the flip-flop that we've made this week. If FTX did not fall this week, I am fairly certain we would have followed the tech stocks of the Nasdaq and had a really nice rally this week. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We only have the facts in front of us and we can only trade facts, not what we would like to happen. So, that being a seamless segue back into the charts and the graphs, let's get right to it, shall we? Now, in front of us, we have the Bitcoin US dollar 1-day chart as per usual. What we see here is that a couple days ago, FTX stopped withdrawing or allowing withdrawals. The market tanked because everyone had Terra Luna PTSD, and we did just close above the important support of 19 or 18,500. The next day, however, not so lucky, we crashed all the way back down to 15,500 and then immediately proceeded to move back up. Today, however, we still have about 3.75 hours to go before the day closes, so literally anything could still happen. Now, if we move into the 4-hour chart, what we see here is, well, that this little symmetrical triangle was actually spot on, because we had about 3,000, 2,950 move down here, symmetrical triangle, measured move, and instead of going to 15,300, we went to 15,500, which frankly, close enough. And now we're moving back up. So what we're seeing is basically we have a pretty big order book, buy book here at 15,000, or 15,000, 16,000, and 15,000. That is kind of our next pocket that we are looking at. Let's make it green so that we know what we're talking about. This is kind of our next support zone, and my head was a bit itchy all of a sudden. There we go, and now we see that there's a move back up, especially since the CPI print. Now we were rejected just down here, or just up here I should say, at the 15 or 17,600. I'm sorry, I'm having a bit of dyscalculia today, it would seem, which is fine, happens every now and then, but we do see the 13 and 21 EMA. We had a very rough reject from here, meaning that it is quite possible that we're moving back down towards, well, this upward trend line to start making a triangle to see where we're going. It is still a very uncertain bit of the market. This could just be a bearish retest to try and break through the, well, this little area here between 16,000 and 15,000. If we do manage to break above, the real line in the sand that we have to cross again is 18,500. This is super important, this old low of the range. We want to break through that, get above 19,000 again before we can really say, okay, we've had the worst of this. We have to confirm above it. We have to be really certain, because until that happens, we might just sweep this low again. And if we break it, there's a good chance we'll go on to 13,000 and 12,000, which is not great for all kinds of reasons. It doesn't look like it at the moment, but there's always the chance of some strange black swan event, especially because there's just a lot of moving parts in the world right now that could really mess with our style and ease at the moment. So that is Bitcoin in a nutshell for now. I do think personally it is a decent time to kind of get into the market and put a little bit extra in, especially the next bull run when we get back to like 60, 70k. It doesn't really matter if you get in at 17k or at 14k. If it really bothers you that you don't get the exact bottom, just scale it in. Use some sniping orders, or not sniping orders, sting orders. That you start now with, if you have $1,000, for instance, you put in 250 now, you put in 250 at a 16,000 order, 15,000, 14,000, etc. That way, at the very least, you won't miss this move. And if we do go lower, well, good on you, awesome, you did it. And otherwise, you know, at the very least, you participated in this dump, because I personally think it's more annoying to completely miss it than maybe only have like a partial fill. Because especially if you're swing trading, if you're scaling in, you're never going to have like your full wanted allocation. That's fine. That is part of the game. That's how it works. That is something you'll have to get used to, and afterwards trading will become much easier and a lot calmer too, which is what we want in the end. Oh, I see that I still have all kinds of tabs open. Wait, hold on, let me... Sorry, I also just gave a class, so that is also why my voice is a bit rough, because I've been speaking for an hour. Where was I? Right, Ethereum. ETH USD, let's move over. VeChain actually is pretty strong at the moment, but we'll look at that in a bit. Ethereum is actually a lot stronger than Bitcoin at the moment. We see that it just tapped 1,060. It didn't even make a new low. It didn't even hit its, well, I guess it technically hit its previous range low, sort of, but not quite, because we see that that is at 1,000, and it didn't even hit that. And now it's already back above its previous resistance, which was at 1,250 to, let's say, 1,275. It is firmly wedged between its two EMAs, which is wonderful, shows a lot of strength. And now it is slowly moving back up to try and break above this EMA. If it does, That'll be a good indicator if it confirms above, which is very important in case you hadn't noticed yet today. Confirming is very important and integral to our strategies, at least our scaling strategies, that is. So, if it breaks back above, that would show that we're moving back into a positive sentiment and that we could use these indicators again to take potential manual trades. We don't do those too often, but it is also to teach you what we're looking at and how we trade and how we get stronger and better at everything that we do. So these two indicators, they do a lot. Also, the 200 EMA is really a cheat sheet. That is Ethereum in a nutshell. We do see that Ethereum is relatively strong. We see that again in Ethereum Bitcoin as well, and it's moving up towards the 0.076 mark. Of course, it just missed our buy zone again, which is a little annoying, but part of trading. So that's fine. So be it. Let's move on. There's a couple of coins that are doing really well, like Matic, which is kind of the leader of the layer 2 scaling solution sector. And because of that, it's doing great. It has a wonderful recovery. DYDX as well. It is up 32% today, as is the position of DYDX. Very nice. Solana, not so lucky. This is also because FTX was a big backer of Solana. And obviously, because of that, they had a lot of Solana or Alameda Research, one of the two. And if you go bankrupt, you sell everything that you want or that you need to sell in order to try and make ends meet. Also, there is a very big and concerted effort going on to get everybody their money back, all of the traders. I believe they currently have raised 5 billion out of the 9.4 that they need. So that is considerable progress, a lot better than Celsius ever could. So hopefully, I truly hope for everyone who has been, well, struck by this, that you will get all of your money back. So far, so good, it would seem, but we shall see. Also, that would be very bullish, because if everybody gets their money back, then they can redeploy that into the market. Obviously, that would give rise. We do also see that this crash was not as bad as previous ones, mainly because the weak hands, the retail new people have already been shaken out over the past, well, year. So there weren't that many people left to sell, except for the people who won't, like the diamond hands, and the people who are like, oh wow, buying opportunities, let's go. So we see that AVE is coming back as well. We kind of see the same pattern everywhere in the market currently. We will probably see a bit of a rise in decentralized exchanges like DYDX, and GMX, because people just are sick of human error and human greed, and that absolute power corrupts absolutely. I'm starting to stumble over my words, so I should probably slowly start to make an end to this. So we see CRO as well. This could be good for Coinbase, because Coinbase is regulated and a public company, so they have to be transparent all the time. We also see that Binance now wants to promote full transparency, so I'm very curious to see how they are going to do that and how it's going to be verified and everything. But I think, all things considered, there will be good things coming out of this for the long run. Bad actors need to be cleared out so that the space can grow and evolve, even though it hurts, and I am very sorry for anyone who had their funds still on the exchange. This is also why Bitcoiners are very much like private keys. If you don't own your keys, it's not really your coins, because any exchange will have a clause that it can use your funds to try and save itself if it goes bankrupt, which is not what you like to see. It's not great customer service, is it? That is kind of what I wanted to show you today. Thank you so much for your attention. Hopefully you weren't hit too hard by the whole FTX thing. Know that, there is a silver lining. In the next bull run, this will all seem like a fun thing to bond and connect over with all the other people who were here during this event. But for now, it does truly suck. So, thank you all so much for your attention, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good weekend, and bye bye.